Going live.
It's bad when you got to go live and you got to charge your phone at the same time. It's not a good look.
That's what I'm doing right now.
That's what you're doing right now.
Yep.
Doing the same shit.
What up, 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 what up? It's your boy T. Have him on the ride up. I got a couple guests with me. Wait, not really guests. It's family. You know how we do. We got Really Real in the building. What's up, Real?
What's up, man? How you doing?
And then we got my guy Ron. Ronnie, what's up, boy?
What's going on tonight, fellas? Glad to be here.
Y'all know what time it is. It's like 9:30. We start this drink. So y'all know how it is with Brian. Brian probably knocked out right now. Brian got the metabolism of a 60-year-old. I don't know what it is.
Oh man.
Brian got the, but I know he's not drinking, because if he was drinking, he wouldn't be asleep yet.
He wasn't. If he,
I can't believe Ron has known Brian for a decade and he hasn't met drunk Brian yet.
Never met drunk Brian. I don't know what drunk Brian looks like, acts like. No clue.
You don't want to know.
No. Come on. Real. Drunk Brian he's fun at the party.
I will admit that though. He will.
I'll tell you like this. Brian is he's a conversationalist. If you take him somewhere, he's going to spark up at least semi-intelligent conversation with the people.
Right.
He doesn't really care whether or not you have intelligence or not. He just, wants to embark his wisdom.
He wants to give you knowledge when he can. Is that what you're saying?
But drunk Brian, the first telltale sign that you have now that drunk Brian has entered the room is if you're in person with him, Brian will have a skull on his face. He'll have a skull, like his brows will get low, and he'll have the bird's eyes right on the side of his face, like he casing the joint. He looked like he casing the joint.
It's like a scowl. Is it a scowl?
Yeah. Right. But it's not like. But it's weird because it's not like I'm angry, but I want to be. It's like I want to be angry look, right? And he has like a aggressive energy to him, but he'll be like aggressive as fuck, but he'll be confessing his love to you.
Right.
Like, I fucking love you. Okay, Brian. He gets very touchy. He likes to shadow box with you and go throw body blows with you.
Seriously.
And his favorite phrase is it's my nigga.
It's my nigga.
He says it in a way as he sounds as if he's never said it before and he finally got a pass. But he's black. Like he's like a black. Now it's not like a white dude that's around black dudes is cool. White dude saying nigga. It sounds like a black dude that's around some well-trained Negroes that don't use that type of language.
Got you.
And now he's around his homeboys, and now it's like he's trying out the word. Like that's what it sounds like. He's trying out the word, like it's an audition. My nigga, and he gets very repetitive because he got to get his point across.
Never seen this before in my life, man.
But all the while, you're dying laughing because you know he's drunk.
Right. Okay.
You said
there's a look, right? There's a look.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We have pictures of it.
said, oh, yeah.
Pictures sprinkled like throughout. We have pictures.
Okay.
I don't want to violate the sanctity of our like private chats.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying we're not going Jon Gruden, Brian.
We're not going to Jon Gruden.
We're not going Jon Gruden, but I
Good.
might look and see if we got some like redacted files of drunk Brian.
Okay.
And we'll classify those as the drunk Brian files because we don't want that to be mistaken for Brian. I don't want to bring Brian down with drunk Brian's antics. Yeah, but there's also another Brian that you haven't met, King Vegas.
Wait, what is King Vegas?
Yeah.
What is King Vegas? What is this?
Imagine you've been to Vegas multiple times with the crew, and a crew of us is what? There's been like in total, like 10 of us total. We all haven't been at the same time, but there's like 10 of us total.
Okay.
There's only one King Vegas though.
There's only one King Vegas.
Brian is King Vegas.
Brian's King Vegas. Man.
Yes.
King Vegas. And King Vegas is like, is he drunk Brian too on levels of 10?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. King Vegas is like drunk Brian's just hit 21 younger brother.
Ah, okay. Now that makes more sense. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. He's the like drunk Brian is more like a 35-year-old who works 50 hours a week and finally get to let loose. Yeah. King Vegas is his 21-year-old brother who looks better than him, who dresses better than him, who spells better than him, who does everything better than his older brother, and he about to let you know.
Totally, I totally understand that.
And his turn up level is 100.
Okay.
And this is all in his head though.
Oh
yeah. I will say that there's one bad moment where. Have you ever been to Vegas before?
Yeah, a number of times. Yeah.
Okay. So, there's one story that we have. It's one story.
Okay.
We was
never been to Vegas with my boys though. Never been to Vegas with my boys though. So that's a different.
So then the answer's sort of no. Then
it's kind of sort of no. My girl is from the. It's a total difference. I get it. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like you can go any group of people you can go to Vegas with. You can go with your family, you can go with your lady, you can go with the fellas. You can have 3 different experiences and all of them are great.
Right.
But they ain't the same.
It ain't right. I can just imagine.
The fellas going, like I think the misconception from the TV and movies is that the fellas is going and it's just some big freak fest where you just doing a lot of fucking and one night stands. A lot of belligerent
things.
Like that, like number one, that those girls that should be existing for that to happen. Like, if you are a female listening to this right now, ask yourself, are you and your girls that crew of girls that just giving up vagina to a random group of dudes in abundance in Vegas? I mean, if you are those girls, then maybe that reality does exist to you.
Right.
But we've been there 6 times and we haven't, not that we've been fishing for, you know, and this time obviously we were single. Now we're not, a lot of us aren't single, but even still, it was a time when we might have went and obviously we were open to and probably a little pursuant of looking for some ladies to hang with.
Right.
But for the most part, it's like, yo, we out of the state, we on vacation. Let's turn up, hit some pool parties, hit some gambling.
Right.
Let's relax.
Right.
With that being said, Brian, you got to keep your eye on him. Because you know he's like I said before, he's very sociable.
Right.
You might look up and Brian is having a conversation with a suburban white couple from fucking Idaho at the bar, and they're having the fucking time of their life. Yeah, And I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, B. I think them might be some swingers, dog, and they might be trying to fuck you. They might be like, yo, wow, like your ignorant friends might think they trying to like invite you to some place to abduct you and do something harmful. Nah, I think this is their first time trying to experience a black man that don't live where they live, and maybe they both want to suck your dick. I'm just putting it out there. That's the energy that they be giving. So I'll be like, I'm gonna be on over here, all the way over here. You know what I'm saying? With it, nah, I'm good. But they be fun and they buy you drinks. Oh man.
So he finds the right people to conversate.
Oh yeah,
with.
Brian, listen. Yeah. Brian, I think out of all of us, Brian has the most genuine fun out of all of us. And I think I have a lot of fun.
I can totally see that. see that.
Brian don't waste his time at the tables much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He just drinking.
Yeah.
And having a good time. I
can totally see that. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and we actually planning on going this spring. We hadn't went over the last 2 years. We had to obviously get postponed on our our Vegas trips because of the pandemic, but we should be going 2022. We should be back in Vegas, you know what I'm saying, in the springtime. We're trying to do it big. We try to have, you know what I'm saying, we might the most people we went with is 7. We might try to do 10. We might try to do 10. We've had it where we had 2 like 2 rooms. Mm-hmm. We can join 2 rooms. That's the goal. We like to have it like make it look like a suite. Because you got to get the doors between the rooms. Yeah, man. Oh my God, that was a fun one. That was a fun one. But so I want to get off Brian Paul since he's not here. I'm sure he's gonna have some rebuttal when he see this. I want to get through a couple topics.
Let's do it.
And obviously there's a couple hot topics. But before we start that, I want to go ahead and again recognize what I got on right now. I don't know if I can see it. It looks backwards in my camera. I don't know if it's backwards in yours. No. But y'all see what that say. Sweatshirts and shirts are available right now on the website. If you've known, we lost my aunt to breast cancer. I've had friends that lose family members to breast cancer. It's a terrible thing, and just like it sure says, fuck cancer, you know. Absolutely. This is the 3rd version of it. We've had it for a couple years. We did a white one, we did a pink one. This year is the gray one. So we have a gray sweatshirt. It's online right now. Thank you to everyone who's already ordered their shirts. We've sold a couple shirts. I got a couple sweatshirts. I got a full size one left in the sweatshirts. I have to get some more of the t-shirts done. But yeah, man, make sure if you're looking for it, just make sure you hit the website and pick them up. Right. With that being said, yeah, Jon Gruden. What the fuck? What the fuck, Jon Gruden? Huh? What the fuck, Jon Gruden? So if you didn't know, last Monday, in the middle of a Monday Night Football game, right. Newsflash, Jon Gruden. Hey y'all, he's officially world's biggest NFL creep at the moment. Jon Gruden is resigned, which is crazy to me. It'd be crazy to me when motherfuckers resign and I get fired. But resigned from the Raiders because some emails of him sharing with several NFL executives, including one Bruce Allen, formerly of the Washington Redskins. Yeah. Where he was being racist, being sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, all the things that will get you in the front line of the cancel culture. Jon Gruden checked all those boxes.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
But what's so interesting, and a lot of people point out, is that the majority of the stuff that he was, in hot water about was already out. It already happened and got brushed over. Like, for instance, his racially insensitive comments about the Maurice Smith, the about him, something about he said something about his look. He was joning on him basically. Said something. I'm gonna have
These emails date back to how many years back? Because the whole Michael Sam situation was that was what, 4 years ago.
This was 2011 where he says that when the first email or whatever came out about him talking about the more respect. What everybody what I'm not gonna say everybody because some people don't care. They just happy to see somebody else. You know what I'm saying on the cancel culture. You know what I'm saying freight train. But what happened? What's interesting to a lot of people is that all of a sudden, a week after Dave Chappelle's special about him, painting a picture of, you have a rap artist who actually shot and killed a black man, and nobody cares. And the second he says something about homosexuals, it's cancel him. And people are starting to compare that, like that thought process of, you can basically do whatever you want to black people. Don't upset or offend, the LGBTQ community, or you're gonna be in some trouble. And the emails that got Jon banged up is the fact that he called Goodell the F word. He dropped the F bomb.
He called
he called him the F bomb. Yeah. And full like complete transparency. There is a problem that a lot of people have with the dialogues, the scrutiny of the dialogue, because there was a time where people generally use certain terms to not actually classify or demean somebody as an actual homosexual.
The words have become more sensitive in some ways.
So the word faggot, I'm not calling anybody a faggot. I'm saying the word. The word faggot was obviously a very hurtful, derogatory term to talk about homosexual men. And same goes with lesser impact. Same thing as a sissy. Those things are sort of like connected. Very insensitive terms. But for a long time, when somebody was doing something that was just weak, or you just wasn't rocking with it, or you was, doing you were. I'm not, and I'm. Let me be clear. I am not trying to defend the term. I am only saying what made people comfortable using it, or the way they were using it weren't necessarily suggesting that if I called my good friend, hey, yo, you a faggy or you're a faggot, that he's actually a homosexual.
Yeah, right.
Now I will say, as we've evolved as people, we generally have moved that word from our vocabulary. We don't refer to our friends and people.
We don't say it anymore. We don't say
it anymore.
No.
Because there was a time where we didn't know. Like, my thing is this. It's just like if you're a child. And in the Bible, it says, when you're a child, you think as a child. You act as a child. And then when you become a man, you think as a man and you act like a man. And I think it's a very similar mindset. Like, once you've been giving the knowledge or information on it, then you have a responsibility to now act accordingly. It's really simple. If you do something or you act a certain way and your wife says, hey, that hurts my feelings.
Right.
We do this all the time.
Right.
Even like we thinking about the intent. We are concerned with the intent of it. Okay. And that's a natural, and this is where you have to have a understanding, and there needs to be back and forth, and why dialogue is good. Because the intent may not be malicious. But if you tell somebody you love them and you care about them and you would never want to hurt their feelings, right? And then they tell you, hey, this that you're doing is hurting my feelings, it's now your responsibility to evaluate what you're doing and make the change, regardless of what you're saying the intent is. Because after they tell you, hey, that hurts my feelings, and if you still do it, now with the knowledge that it hurt the feelings, now it's intentional.
Yeah.
Because what will happen is people will start giving demonstrations of other people doing it or saying to other people and them not reacting the same way as the offended party.
Right.
And I think that is a lot of what you're seeing right now, where it's like, yo, the fact of the matter is you have a group of people who say, hey, this hurts me. Please don't do it. Now, the fine line in that is everybody's overly sensitive to the point where it's like, hey, you sort of feel like, hey, I want to be offended. I want to be able to feel a sense of power over the way people act and the way they move. So I'm going to express my opinion, or I'm gonna piggyback some. Oh, that's offensive. Then you just decide. Oh, that's offensive.
So T, here's my question to you on this whole situation. So there was three things that they pointed out in that whole situation, right? They pointed out what he said to Goodell. They pointed out some of the misogynistic things that he said towards females, right? And then some of the things that he said towards Michael Sam. Who's the other guy? I keep forgetting the other guy's name.
As far as
the two, he called Michael. He made a comment about Michael Sam being drafted, right?
Eric Reed.
Oh, he said Eric Reed needed to get fired.
Okay, and he said that. So I don't think they're aiming at the whole Goodell being called a faggot thing. I don't think they focus primarily on that so much as the things that he said towards women, and then the things that he said towards some of the NFL players and some of the owners that, in that situation. I think they were focusing on those two main things. But the thing that gets me with this whole situation is, number one, this was done when he was not in the league. Am I to understand that?
Yeah.
He wasn't in the league. Okay, that's okay. He wasn't in the league. And once again, I'm not defending this man either, because he said in a quote that he did not mean to hurt people. When in actuality, you just didn't mean to get caught. You didn't mean for this stuff to get out. Because in pure honesty, if we all were to have our emails checked and our messages checked, there's a lot of people that wouldn't be in relationships. There's a lot of people that wouldn't have jobs. There's a lot of people, like, let's keep this funky, man. Like, there would be a lot of people in trouble right now on the hot seat.
I agree. But here's the thing, though. The issue on Jon Gruden isn't that he said, oh, he said this or he said that. No, he said all this. And the way that the fact of the matter is, he wasn't in the NFL, but who was he emailing?
Right.
Who was he emailing? He was emailing a general manager of a professional football team. And that's what people need to stop saying, oh, he wasn't in the league. I'm not in the fucking league. I don't have the business email address to fucking Bruce Allen.
These were business emails, right? These were company emails, right?
Not for John. John was from his private. But
that was from his private.
Bruce, yeah, John was from his private emails. So the emails that they sent from Bruce were company emails.
Were company emails. See, man.
And so, go ahead.
No. So what? Okay. So what? We're focusing. Media has focused on Gruden because Gruden's the main, focal point of this whole situation. But what about the GM for the Redskins? What happened to him?
Well, right now he's
is he under fire too?
He doesn't have a job. He's not in the league right now.
Oh, he's out of okay. Okay.
Yeah. But it's funny that you say that, because here's the thing. just because you are good at one thing don't mean you're good at other things. That's just the way people are. There's a lot of basketball players that can't do other things. There are a lot of football players that can't do other things, at least on a high level.
This is facts, yeah.
And a lot of people that I know are, I mean, you know some people who can have a conversation, but maybe they're not good at writing. Guess what? Some of these older people, one thing we know about older people is they not good with what?
Texting, the social media, technology.
A lot of older people are not good at technology. They got their new iPhones and they got to get their great granddaughter or their granddaughter to help them set it up. Or how you use it. Allen is, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if he thought that, hey, those emails were gone. Those emails are good.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Okay, think about
thought about that.
And I use this as an example. A couple years ago, there was a rich, and that's what people thinking because you're rich, that you protected, that you can, and you are to a degree, but sometimes
you are, yeah.
Sometimes the shooters don't land the way you want it. There was a very rich white guy who owned a professional basketball team, and technology caught my man saying some stuff that he should not have been saying.
True.
And he lost the whole basketball team. Donald Sterling lost a whole basketball team. You remember that?
Yeah.
This is the same thing. The one thing that hasn't come out yet, and I think what people are waiting for, is they want to know what the driving force. I want to know what the driving force was. Because here's the thing. There's not too many black men, especially those who actually watch the game of football and watch how they treat black quarterbacks and the way they marginalize certain players when they act a certain type of way or ostracize them, that you know that there is a huge racial element in the game of football.
Huge. Listen, we gotta really stay alert on this because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are deleting shit right now.
What?
People are deleting accounts.
The beautiful thing about Twitter is that they keep track of everybody's shit.
Everything.
I be finding it funny. Like, it be funny as hell when you see somebody like, a certain tweet came out and be like, a deleted tweet. How the fuck? Listen, I mean, maybe it's because I don't be stalking celebrities and I don't follow them, or I don't be thinking that they have the juicy news or whatever. Mm-hmm. But how the fuck do you be so locked in on every celebrity that as soon as they say some off-brand shit or offhand shit, you immediately screenshotting that shit and stashing it? Like, because is it all just like Twitter be on some bullshit? Like, yo, I'm not on Twitter.
It or something like Twitter's.
I have Twitter, but I don't use my Twitter because I don't trust the way they operate. Because my thing is, how is it that people just randomly have these tweets that come out? How? Like,
they'll find something that you did when you were like 10 years old. Like if you had Twitter, you said something when you were in ninth grade and
especially when Twitter first came out and people were saying shit because they didn't know how it worked. You just think, I'm just gonna talk my shit. And then you find out, this is what happens when you talk your shit.
Yeah, because it comes back 10, 15 years later.
I think Kevin Hart had said something about homosexuals or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Like, and then it was like 10 years later, like, look what I found. Like, wow. Yeah. So I think part of it is the fact that Bruce probably didn't even know that they was like, damn, I ain't know I ain't had. But my whole thing is, why is nobody talking about the fact that, bro, it's just like if you got a friend. If you tell me that somebody said something to me, my question to you is like, bruh, why the fuck he know you my man?
Right.
Like what? Right. Like a nigga not gonna say no wild shit to me about none of my squad.
Right.
You know why? Because they not gonna feel comfortable having that conversation. Because I'm like, whoa. Like you're not about to talk about like the only people who can talk about my squad, they in the squad. because they know what's going.
Yeah,
You're not gonna say nothing that you know not gonna come to light. Like, yo, hey, Rail, hey, look what DJ said about you, or look what hey Ty. We gonna put it out there in our own space because we gonna ridicule, we gonna do whatever, but we gonna do it together. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't feel comfortable with a motherfucker saying shit like that. Like, put it like this: if I'm in a situation and a motherfucker says some shit like that to me, the next message be like, bro, nah, don't, nah, I don't feel comfortable with this. Don't send that buck washing to me. Cause listen, even if you my mans, I'm gonna tell you, like, bro, what you not finna do is fuck both our bag up.
Right. But I'm not about to leave $60 million on the table right now.
Everybody ain't got that Kyrie relationship with bread. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't got the Kyrie relationship with bread. Money ain't everything, but you know what? Generational wealth is a motherfucker. And if I got a chance to get generational wealth, you know what I'm saying, without, you know what I'm saying, being trifling to get it, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna take care of it, I'm gonna protect it. You know what I'm saying? But my whole point is like, why is he feeling comfortable with you saying this shit? I don't
know what it is, T. I think a lot of people think Gruden wasn't like this. And it's not that he wasn't like this. It's just that, like I said, like when he said I didn't mean to hurt people, he probably didn't mean to hurt people. But the shit got out. Like, this is who you are. Right? Gruden, he comes off like he's that kind of person. But we all have that, assholeness in us. Do we not?
Yeah, but to be honest with you, like, prior to this, Gruden, prior to him being in Las Vegas as a Raiders coach, Gruden always came off like a type of coach that you might want to play for because he seemed like he was a player-friendly coach.
He was a player-friendly coach, and he seemed like somebody you can go after the game and have a beer with. Honestly, like, that's the type of coach he comes off as.
And I'll tell you like this: one person that I've heard speak on the situation, and I thought resonated the most with me, was the amazing Joy Taylor.
Oh, what did she say?
Joy Taylor, and I love her to death. I've been rocking with her since she was with Undisputed when they first rolled out, and she's now branched off and gotten her own platform on top of still. Yeah, love Joy Taylor. She put out the fact like, yo, you gotta go under the surface of what it means to have a guy who has these type of opinions, and he has young Black people's careers in his hands.
Okay.
Think about it.
She went that with it. Okay.
Think about it. Right now, the only organization that I like, as far as like no other organization is like the Bucks. I'm almost a Bucks fan the way their organization is set up.
You got to like the way they're running the organization.
Because they didn't talk about it. They actually put qualified people in position, and it just so happens that they're Black. I
love the fact that Brian Leftwich is the offensive coordinator or the quarterback coach.
My thing is, 10 years ago, we wouldn't have. Like, remember when Brian played, and he was a solid college. He was actually a really good college quarterback, and had some success in the NFL. But we wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have thought that Byron Leftwich was a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator caliber because he wouldn't even get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles, how long did Todd Bowles have to wait to even get a shot? And a lot of times I have a problem with NFL coaches getting a shot when they're Black, is that 9 times out of 10, when they get the shot, it's with a shitty team that you know it's gonna be an uphill battle. They never get handed the keys like all these other, these other coaches.
Let's talk about that, right?
You know, I've only seen it happen maybe twice. I've only seen it happen 2 times where a Black man has been receiving the keys to a legit NFL kingdom. Mike Tomlin taking over after Bill Cowher, which was a shock.
That really was.
He definitely deserved it and has earned it.
And we're going back. We're going back a few decades.
And the only other one was Tony Dungy taking over for Indianapolis.
Yeah, for the Colts, right?
Like he got to coach Peyton Manning and win a championship with Peyton Manning.
Both are Super Bowl coaches, by the way. Just want to put that out there. Both are Super Bowl winning coaches. Go ahead.
So for those two, you have way too many have been getting shit opportunity after shit opportunity, and then when they get there, they don't get support. They don't get a clean slate. They don't get to start from scratch, and they damn sure don't get no franchise quarterbacks, right? So, and I'm saying it to say, if John is like this, and we actually like John,
I like them. I like Jon Gruden, man.
Imagine the old ornery coaches that we like. I don't like that motherfucker. Imagine how much more difficult they were for other people's careers that didn't look like them or didn't have the same. And I ain't talking about just black people. I'm talking about didn't have the same philosophy as them, who didn't kiss their ass, who probably wasn't comfortable with, I'm saying, sharing pictures of butt naked cheerleaders and shit like that. Like it's wild. So I really can't wait to watch this shit completely unfold.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to this. There's a lot of layers to the situation, man. There's a lot of layers. I mean, because here we go again with, do you go with a name or do you go with potential? Like, do you go with, what is going to be the process now of hiring coaches now?
If they smart, listen. The only thing I've always wanted these teams to do is their fucking due diligence. They have way too much. They have way too much money, too many resources.
My lady said the same thing. Where's the due diligence? Yeah,
and too many resources to just be hiring a name.
Right.
And I pointed it out with the Washington. Well, they were the Redskins at the time. I had a problem with that with the Redskins.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that Ron Rivera isn't a good. I mean, record-wise, he's average. I mean, put out there outside. If you take away that 15-1 season they had with Cam when he won the MVP, he's hovering around 500. He's not a great coach.
He's not a
record-wise. Now right. You can't. Are you gonna talk about culture? Well, what kind of culture is it in Carolina? Are they like he left? Are they winning? When he left, were they winning? No. So what type of culture are you trying to sell us on?
Right.
You know. So the fact that I know that, and then when you have a guy like Snyder, who you've seen since he's been here, go out the name. Why am I to believe Ron Rivera is any different? And that's the shit I'm talking about. You look at Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers will be a competitive team for years. Why? Because they went and hired a young guy who didn't have the biggest name, but had big potential.
Had potential, man.
Arizona has a coach with potential.
Potential, yeah.
And I'm not saying that some of these guys aren't prodigies and that they don't, like Kyle Shanahan. We knew he was going to be a dog. It was just a matter of time. McVay, we knew these guys had it. It was just waiting for the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Judge was a special teams coach.
Mm-hmm. Right.
How are the Giants looking right now?
Exactly.
Mike Judge got hired from the Patriots.
Right.
How are they doing right now? They're not a good team. The Giants are not a good team.
No.
And it's
because he came from that whole Belichick tree.
Bingo. He's just another failed coach from the Belichick tree.
Right. Yeah.
Ron, what business are you in, Ron?
Say it again.
What business are you in?
Well, what do you mean? Like what?
Professionally.
Oh, I work. I do retail. I'm in retail.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mean like retail, like department stores or retail?
Hardware stores. Yeah.
So let's say, because I'm in the hospitality business.
Okay.
Let's say Saks Fifth is that's like the name. Like you got Saks Fifth on your resume as far as working retail. It rings bells, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like,
yeah.
Whether it's Nordstrom's, Macy's, JCPenney's, Marshalls, whatever. If you go to apply to them and you have Saks Fifth on your resume,
right,
you're gonna have a leg up on getting a job because it's Saks Fifth.
Sure. No question.
I'm in the restaurant biz, and I know for a fact that when people see Ruth Chris and Gordon Biersch and you know what I'm saying, one of these a place that sounds fancy.
Okay.
When it's on people's resume, you automatically attach that mindset to, okay, this is going to be a good hire.
Sure. Right.
It's going to be a good hire.
Right.
And that's the problem for me.
Yeah. I get it, man. I definitely I'm on the same train, because I mean it's not always about the resume. I get what you're saying. It's not always about the resume. It's about, what you see in that person, the true potential, not what's on paper, but what's really in the person. Yeah.
Right. So I'd be wondering, like, yo, what the fuck was y'all talking about when y'all doing the interview process? Like, what was the conversation?
Right.
Like, what were you asking? Like, for instance, like you get, and I'm only gonna speak about the team that I see the most, which is my team. So I'm curious, like, when you interviewing Ron Rivera and you talking, even if you talking defense, you talking offense, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna bring this guy, Like, what, like, how does, like, and don't get me wrong, I don't think Scott Turner's a bad play caller. I think he obviously needs he needs time with this quarterback to grow him, or find a quarterback that's more capable of doing the job.
Okay.
But I don't think his play calling is terrible. He's not great. But my thing is, if you want to win and win, sometimes you can't hire your boy. Like, I don't think you, like,
it doesn't work.
Too many times they're hiring it, like, yo, like,
they're hiring their boys. They're hiring their
boys. They're hiring their friends. They're hiring their friends. It's like, like they work together at this place, or they work together on that place. And there's always some connective tissue. My thing is, listen, the only connective tissue that I'm gonna need is that I know what the fuck I'm doing, and you know what the fuck you doing. It's the only connective tissue I need. So, and to bring it back around, if you have a guy like Jon Gruden who has that mindset, it just trickles down, like, yo, like Khalil Mack.
That was weird.
How the fuck do you trade Khalil Mack before he even plays it down for you?
That was weird, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I
so
don't
now
know.
You got, and Jon Gruden was, the football world was already side-eyeing him when he first made that trade. We're like, what? When he got rid of Amari Cooper, we were like, what?
Yeah, let me ask you real quick. On John Madden, when you play Madden, what is your favorite thing to play on Madden?
Franchise mode.
Exactly.
The reason why I like playing franchise mode is because I was really good at I knew how to circumvent the draft.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. And
I knew how to manipulate the salary cap and have tons of money. And I used to be able to get the early picks every time.
But aside from all that, how many, if you did like a 10-year season, right? Let's say you did a 10-year season, did you at least win one Super Bowl?
Of course,
right? Like right? It's automatic, right?
I could simulate my season sometime with the rosters I put together and win.
Sometimes I look at, and I'm not, I don't know how I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this, I guess,
He wasn't winning the Super Bowl in that 10 years.
Who, Gruden?
He was in year 3, year 4. He wasn't going. He was not on his way to winning the Super Bowl.
No.
No.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't get rid of. I guess what I'm trying to say is you don't get rid of a Khalil Mack. Are you fucking kidding me?
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
I mean, I have to go back and look at the overall haul of what he got from draft picks and all that shit, and it still wouldn't add up because all those guys you got, and none of them were Khalil Mack.
I don't get the selection. Like me personally, me being a Giants fan, I'm hurting because it's like, why the fuck is Jason Garrett the offensive coordinator?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't listen. I'm not comfortable with I wouldn't like it if Washington hired the former head coach of a team that's a rival in my division, especially when they're not winning. Yo, you watch these dudes 2 times a year not win. Why are you hiring him? Oh, maybe it's because that's my dog. We're gonna have to get that's my dog. That's my guy.
Yeah.
People and people they campaign for it. I mean, you know what it was? Remember, I don't know if you watched it. What's the Ballers?
It's real. Yeah. Ballers. Yeah.
This and the fact that Rashard Mendenhall was an executive producer on that, and that he poured a lot of himself into that. I have no reasons to believe that a lot of the shit that they make seem like behind the scenes are very truthful, like very truth-driven things.
So here's my thing with that. Even before, so my lady tells me that Jon, she's reading her, she gets the text messages on her app. She's at ESPN, football app. She goes, oh, Jon Gruden got fired. I said to myself, I'm not surprised. I didn't know what the situation was.
You was probably thinking because of his lack of winning.
I thought it was because of his winning. I thought it was because of the record. I didn't think it was because of these emails. I said, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
And she goes, so she thought I knew the whole story. I didn't know the whole story. But when I heard the story, I was like, oh, he got fired. Oh, he got fired for that.
But he didn't
he
get
got fired for his performance.
He did not get fired. He resigned.
I'm sorry. He resigned. I'm sorry.
It's a difference. It's a
difference. Yes, there's a difference.
And a lot of times these guys get to resign. And the thing about it is, I don't know what it is, but I guarantee you it's making sure they got backdoor money in their pocket.
I think Gruden got his money. Gruden got what, 40 mil at that $100 million deal?
I'm just saying it's very interesting. A lot of times these guys, they don't get fired. They resign.
Come on, man. We know what that is, man.
They resign. Like interesting. It's like it's almost like when cops are under investigation and they're on paid leave.
We know what? Right. It's no different.
Show you a parent can show the motherfuckers shoot a guy in his back 20 times for mistaken identity. Shot in the back 20 times.
And then it's loud.
Like no. We're gonna investigate it, but while we're investigating, you're gonna go sit on the sideline.
Right.
Or you know what? Or what we will do is whatever money that you may have been owed during the time, we're gonna put it in an escrow.
Yeah.
So if you are found innocent, you get that money.
It's filthy, man. It's filthy. It's really dirty, man. The game that's being played in those situations like that, it's dirty, man. You can look at it through across the board. Like you just said, if it's in the police department, if it's in the fire department, if it's in doctors and sports athletes, entertainers, whatever it is, they try to fan the flame and sugarcoat the shit, pretty much. Put a little sugar on the shit.
Put some sugar on the shit.
Put some sugar on some shit, and give it make what was it? Humble was it humble pie? What was that?
Yeah.
From what was that movie? The maid, not the maid. When she gave her that humble pie.
Damn, the one about the maids.
Yeah.
What's the name of the movie?
I forgot.
It wasn't Maid. It was something like The Book or something. The Help. Yeah.
The Help. Just like that.
Side note, she fucked that pie up whole time.
She tore it up.
You crushed that shit.
And that's all they're trying to feed us. That's all they're feeding. That's all they're feeding us, the fans and the people outside of social media. That's what they're trying to feed us. They're really trying to sugarcoat this shit and just be real honest. Just be honest about what this is, man. You got caught. You got caught. You might not be a racist. You might not be this. You might not be that in your mind. But that's what we're going to perceive it as. We're going to perceive it as you're a little bit off.
With that being said, have you seen the close?
The next topic, right? Great segue.
I've been on it a little while.
Right.
Have you seen the closer?
I have seen it, and I fucking love it.
How do you? What's your take on the whole? Because we already spoke about cancel culture and all that stuff, but this hadn't happened yet for him. What is your take on the developing story around Netflix and them having people saying they need to cancel it, take it off the platform? Also they had a couple of their employees try to bum rush a meeting.
Right. I've seen that.
And they also have some employees who are planning to walk out on October 20th if the special isn't down yet.
I've seen that as well. Yeah. Yep. I guess to start off, I mean, it's kind of like a continuation from what we were talking about in the last show. Chappelle does not give a shit. He doesn't give a shit. That's number one. You can't necessarily cancel this man because he does not give a shit. And he even said it. He even said it himself. If you're gonna try and cancel me, I love it. You're just adding fuel. All you're doing is you're just making me a bigger name. That's all you're doing to me. I'm not Kevin Hart. I don't give a shit. I'm going to talk my shit and continue talking my shit, and I'm going to have people that's going to back me up. Whether you are transgender, whether you are black, white, Spanish, Asian, whatever, I'm going to have a team that's going to come up and represent me and hold me down. Because I'm not technically saying anything wrong. I mean,
I've watched the special twice.
Okay.
And I'm still
trying to find
the homophobia, the transphobia.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find why they're upset.
I think when I'm watching it.
Okay.
And obviously the first time I watched it as a stand-up comedy, fan that I've been watching stand-up comedy my entire life.
Right.
I've been listening to comedy since I could sneak in and listen to my dad and my uncles listening to Richard Pryor and Red Fox or even the Jerky Boys on tape.
Right.
And I've been watching comedy that long, or been in the comedy that long. And I'm not saying that I'm some savant or any of those things. And I'm like, yo.
Me too.
What Dave Chappelle says, that shit's light in comparison to things.
It's light. Oh my God.
The thing about you can the irony of people who will be on celebrate something and don't fully understand it. Like for instance, Red Fox or Richard Pryor might have said something about homosexuality, and the crowd went crazy about it. And the same people who are boycotting Dave Chappelle might have a Red Fox or Richard Pryor shirt on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like. Yeah. Is it just it's just because he's the obvious target? Oh, I want to be. Yo, I'm gonna tell you what it is. And when we had that conversation about social media, people need to feel important in their basic ass, boring ass, regular ass, never going to be much other than what they are as live. Listen, and what y'all need to understand is, I can understand. You know how I can understand? It's because I'm a 39-year-old man who was never who didn't get to be tall enough to be a football or basketball player. I didn't focus in school so I could be the lawyer that people told me I could be. So now I am, you know what I'm saying, a podcaster. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm a podcaster on the most basic level, and I'm fine with it. So that, you know, the hundreds to thousands of people can watch and listen and agree or disagree with the fuck I say.
Right.
The difference is I'm a fucking adult and I can separate between real and fake. Whatever I say on here, even if it's like listen, it's not fucking real. If you're watching me on YouTube, if you see a clip of this on social media, it's not real. So if at the end of the day, what I'm doing is talking, unless you're in my car telling me, hey, don't say that, I'm going to be able to say whatever the fuck I want. Now, those platforms may be able to say, oh, I'm going to take this down. Cool. And that's why I said you can't, and that's why I agree with, that's the part where Brian and Kat was saying, you can't cancel me because I can still do the fuck I'm doing. You're not canceling me. You canceling the audience because they're the ones who's going to miss it out.
You're canceling the audience. Exactly.
Yeah, you're not canceling me. You're canceling people being able to access me. Right? So Dave, the picture that he painted, and the thing about it is when he was like, he came out really, like he was poking. It's like, oh, wait a minute. And you just knew because you've watched him long enough to know, yo, he's about to paint a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw it. I mean, he orchestrates his stand-up. Those three Netflix, it was the three of them, right? Those three Netflix series.
I think it's the fourth one.
This was the fourth one. You're right. This was the fourth one. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Every last one of them.
One of my favorite comedians growing up named Tony Woods.
Yeah, okay.
Tony Wood had one of my favorite sets on Def Comedy Jam. I've spoken to. I had a stand-up comedian, Damo Hicks, on the podcast last season, and we spoke about our favorite Def Jam moments. So I talked about
Tony Woods is you need your ass beat, right?
Tony, he might have said that one too, but Tony Wood said the one about he was driving with his son in the car and the short bus pulled up beside him.
Okay. He
made a full-on short bus joke talking about disabled kids.
Right.
If right now somebody decided to blow that shit up, do you think Tony Woods would give a fuck?
One thing I think I was watching comedians in cars getting coffee, the Jerry Seinfeld thing, and he had Steve Harvey on one time, and Harvey said that, you know, as a comedian, he was saying, you know, as comedians, we got jokes for dead people. We got like nothing. We might let it go. Maybe, you know, if the person dies, we might let that thing go maybe a day or two. But we got something ready in our arsenal to say something. And I mean, that's what a comedian does.
Fuck that. That's what people do.
That's what we do.
Comedians just do it at a masterclass level of it.
Right.
But people who aren't funny say offhand shit all the time. The difference is
shit all the fucking time. There is a lot. The thing about it is you're trying to in this whole social media world, you're trying to stay sane in an insane world. And that doesn't work, man. That doesn't work in a lot of arenas. That shit don't work in real life. So why would that work in that realm of entertainment? Why? How?
Dave Chappelle had a joke about the hood. He had a joke about.
He touches everything.
He had bits about everything black. And there was no call to cancel. Y'all got to cut the shit out.
That's why he let it. That's why
I'm not gonna tell you to cut the shit out.
You know what's so funny? But you know what's so funny? That's why he set that up with the little baby. That's why he set that up with the little baby bit. And then that just carried it along. That whole thing, that was the tone of the whole stand-up. Was that little baby situation. And that took it and that carried, that was the theme throughout the whole thing because he knew he was gonna get ridiculed at the end of this damn stand-up.
Of course. Now
it was no different.
To try to be fair as possible, I started off this conversation about talking about intent. And that said is a fine line. When the fact of the matter is, when you put things out for public consumption, you are no longer in control of. No, you can't control how people take it.
No,
right?
No.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and so here's what people need to understand, and where there's a line in this shit about whether or not it's intent or not intent, right? If this were a criminal case, right? If this were a criminal case and Dave Chappelle was on trial, 12 people's opinion would decide his fate, right? This is the equivalent, like when this shit happens, the equivalency of it, like, yo, the overwhelming majority is saying, yo, we not canceling Dave. We don't believe that this is transphobic, or yo, or maybe you offended because he's saying, look at yourself. Look at what you're trying, like you're trying to perpetuate an issue that's not there, right?
Right. Okay.
So, and again, it's a difference between people who are being canceled and called out for criminal things versus them just speaking their mind or saying things. If somebody that's white and they're racist and we're saying cancel them, when we say cancel them, that doesn't mean we're going to the banks and saying strip their loans. We're not going to their buildings and saying, yo, let's take some 2x4s and board it up. No, we're saying, hey, the people who look like us, who don't support what they're doing, we just not gonna go there anymore. So here's the thing, and this is it's the same thing. If you don't support Dave Chappelle, if you don't support somebody who's offended you, then the only thing you can do is play your part in quote unquote canceling them. But you just don't subscribe to it. Period. Now, if you are a person that's out of your element and you're operating in a space where you are truly dependent on this demographic or this group of people, like Chrisette Michelle, whose biggest audience is Black women. So if Black women are the ones who feel like she be canceled, then effectively she's probably going to feel the effect of that energy because it's an overwhelming majority. Yeah. Now, like I said the other day, like, yo, it's still, for you to be canceled, it's on you, because the woman can sing, she can still sing, she can go sing in another genre, she can go do so many other things to appeal to other people, or she can just keep making her music and let somebody who didn't feel like she should be canceled, like, there are Black Trump supporters. Chrisette Michelle, I don't know if you knew this, but there are Black Trump supporters.
Yeah. Right. Newsflash.
You could have kept singing. Hell, there are probably Black Trump supporters who actually liked your music prior to that shit. Keep singing. So Dave Chappelle has an overwhelming population of people who say, yo, I ain't canceling Dave. I fuck with Dave.
You can't. We need him. We need what you need people like me. You need people like me to say that's the bad guy.
To be fair,
say good night to the bad guy.
Hey, Ron, that was a great line, a classic moment. But let's be honest, that motherfucker was high off the coke when he said that shit.
It's Tony Montana.
He had so much white, he thought it was winter. That's all I'm saying. I mean, think about it. That Bama was so high, he had a whole army, and he was by himself with a chopper, and he took. Listen,
Sosa, listen, that's a whole nother. We can talk about Scarface. That's a whole nother. Sosa was the man. Sosa was the man in that whole situation.
And
but
then we talk about. See, that's another thing. Funny thing is, that motherfucker ain't like black people in that movie. Black people love Italian movies, and they were known for being racist as fuck.
Yes,
we be loving these Italian movies, and they racist as fuck. And we still love them.
And we still love the movie.
I'm like, listen, and it goes like, I had a interview with my bro Kelly God, and we were talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine and OG Juan, and I guess OG Juan was in somehow. What I can't remember exactly what the topic was off the top of my head, but apparently it was basically about rap. And I was like, yo, he had a problem with, like, people were talking about how they're gonna kill 6ix9ine. And I'm like, yo, I'm not giving that nigga no energy. Like, y'all giving him energy. Like, what you gotta understand is parasites don't care what type of energy it is.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Right.
He's a parasitical individual, where it's like, whether you are showing him love or hate, it's all part of his machine. So the only way you do it is it's like mold. You want to get rid of mold, you got to strip it out, and you got to give it a dry fucking. You got to dry this motherfucker up. So I don't watch him. I'm not gonna watch him. I don't support how Oprah, you know what I'm saying, did certain people, regardless of whether they were guilty or innocent. I didn't rock with it. I don't watch Oprah. Gayle King, I don't like the way she, you know what I'm saying, laid this shit out. I don't support her. I don't watch it.
Okay.
Period. So the whole, but I'm not saying, oh, Oprah needs to be canceled. Why? She like, yo, because people do good things, people do bad things. Oprah's done a lot of good things.
It's a balance. It's a balance. There's a balance. Yeah, there's a balance somewhere. Yeah.
So
you got to find the balance somewhere. You're not gonna like everything that everybody does.
So no, Dave Chappelle is not fuck. Oh man, if Dave Chappelle is not canceled, that's my guy.
Chappelle is not canceled. You can't cancel this man. It's not going to happen. In fact, if Netflix gives him 3 more fucking shows after he comes out of this hiatus, do not be fucking surprised.
The beauty in it all is that most of these celebrities, even if they, you know, feel like they're winning, they won't poke bear. Dave Chappelle has poked the bear twice, because the first thing he said was, damn, this is what it feels like to be canceled. Then he also said, they can pull it off. I got my money already. God damn. Like how bad would you feel?
Which is why you,
how bad would you feel if you feel like you cancel somebody and they, you know what I'm saying, they traveled in the world on the money they made already? You didn't really you didn't cancel them.
He said it. He said, and I quote, "I love it." You're just adding fuel to the flame for him. He wants that. He wants it.
Oh, I'm meant to say this. I'm gonna double back. Jon Gruden took shots at motherfucking Barack and Michelle. Fuck you, Jon Gruden.
Oh, he did? Wow.
Suck a foot long dick.
I did not know this. Wow.
Hey, listen, wow. I don't get into it with people.
Once again, it's like I said, you know, he's not sorry that he didn't mean to hurt people. He's sorry that he got caught. At the end of the day, he's sorry that he got caught.
If you weren't in support of Obama and you not supportive of Joe Biden, it's politics. That's why we have a voting system. You're a lot. I have people who are Trump friends. Like when Trump won, I watched friends, you know what I'm saying, in their friendships over Trump.
Yeah. Yes.
Listen, there's only one person that
I know people who ended marriages
over. Exactly. So my thing is this.
People have ended marriages over that situation, man.
You cannot believe in our system and be a supporter of our system if you're not going to be able to accept the results.
Facts.
Listen, he didn't. It's not a dictatorship. The man got voted in. Period. Like him or not, he got voted in. If your issue is with him, cool. But I'm not about to listen. If let's not
get it misconstrued. 47% of America still voted for this man, right? That was the number, right? 47% or something like that.
Yeah.
So let's not act like that was a fluke. Let's not act like.
My thing is, it's what's funny, what's fun, what's easy. It's easy to take a shot at Trump because he makes himself easy.
Okay.
Biden isn't. Listen, the fact of the matter is they all suck. Period. They all have shit in their bag that's like, yo, that shit's terrible.
There's always a hidden agenda, sure.
Yeah, this shit's terrible.
There's always a hidden agenda. I'm gonna sell you a wolf ticket, and you're gonna buy it, and it's not what it appears to be, and that's just the reality. That's just the reality.
And and the thing is, I don't get into politics because people are too sensitive.
Sure.
And I am a asshole. And when you are an asshole like me, you can be very ignorant to a topic,
right?
And it don't matter. Like, yo, we could talk about policies all day long. I don't give a fuck. If I see you are sensitive about something, I can fuck with you. I'm a troll.
Right.
When it comes to politics, I don't want to be. Listen, if you believe it, cool. I don't want to call her a friend, but I have a person that I've known. Okay. We've been friendly throughout the years. When we see each other, we follow each other on social media. Right. But about a couple months ago, with the whole vaccination shit, she just went like her whole image is like, now instead of her being just some regular girl posting regular Instagram and Snapchat shit, now everything is some like rant or poking the bear about one side of the spectrum, and it's like,
okay, whoa. Yeah.
I scroll through her shit,
yeah,
and then I keep it moving, because my thing is why am I going to waste energy on somebody who truly believes what they believe? Like, you are 10 toes deep into what you believe. I'm not about to waste no energy talking to you about this shit, unless it's for my shits and giggles. Like, if I know at the end of the day the only thing you're going to take away from this is teasing asshole, then what's the point? Because I was an asshole to begin with. Like, I'm not going to enlighten you or anything, because if you see things one way, that's how you see it.
It's as simple as turning it off. It's as simple as turning it off, or just not fucking with that person.
Kanye West said slavery was a choice. I'm like, all right, I'm good. You know why I'm good? Because it's not my responsibility at that point to try to rationalize or talk to Kanye West about that shit. I'm not his. Okay. I'm not in his circle. Okay. The only thing I can do is like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and log off on you. But my thing is, it doesn't matter if Kanye West thinks slavery is a choice. He doesn't represent me. He doesn't represent Black people in entirety. So him saying it doesn't now mean that Black people think slavery was a choice. It just means Kanye West thinks it's a choice. People crucified him for it. They have the right to do that. But at the end of the day, the motherfucker's still going home to sleep in a fucking $20 million house. So the only person that got the negative energy is you.
What he eats don't make me shit. Pretty much. Right? Is that a
great philosopher once said that? A great philosopher once said that. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So let's put all the heavy shit aside. Let's talk some shit real quick.
All right.
Let's talk some shit real quick.
Let's do it.
I like music. And obviously outside of, X is my favorite rapper of all time.
Okay.
Simple as that. X is my favorite rapper of all time.
Okay. No, ain't shit wrong with that. Ain't shit wrong with that.
When I put my list together, X is always on the top of my list.
Okay.
But Hove is right there at number 2. And a lot of times when people talk about Jay-Z and they talk about his greatest albums, a lot of times Reasonable Doubt is like the album that's always the most compared one and talked about. And I'm like, it's a great album, so obviously it deserves recognition. It deserves to be talked about. But I recently said that there's an album that people, I guess, try. I don't know if I want to say take shots at, but I'll say they slight it. And I'm like, yo, this album is arguably better than a lot of y'all favorite rappers' best album.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So
Volume 1.
Yeah.
It's arguably like it's one of my favorite Jay-Z albums.
Okay.
But here's the problem. See, here's the problem with it. Most of your favorite rappers, they got 4 albums, maybe 5 albums tops, and you doing a top 3.
Right.
Jay-Z got so many that to do a top 5, it's like you have to slight an album by default.
Yeah.
This album gets slighted by most people, and it's not by default. They immediately, when they listen, that's like, it's like they take half of his album and they say, okay, I'm gonna put this over here on probably in the top 5, and they take these albums, like, all right, we'll figure out where the fuck they go later. I feel like Volume 1 falls into that category, and it's beyond.
You ask anybody, B would tell you the same thing. Hove is my favorite rapper of all time. And Volume 1 to me, it's like it's a love-hate thing with me, because my favorite Jay-Z song is actually on that album. So
I wonder what it is.
What do you think it is?
It's probably my number 1 or 2 favorite Jay-Z songs, period.
Okay. It's Where I'm From.
Cough up a lung, where I'm from, Marcy, son, ain't nothing nice. That song is one of the great. Yo, listen.
To me, one of the illest. To me, the illest Jay-Z song ever. Yeah, go ahead.
So here's the thing. Obviously, if you ask me what I think is the greatest Jay-Z, matter of fact, you know what? I like to do this game. I'm gonna do it with you.
Okay.
On the spot right now, before we get into the Volume 1, because I know it's not gonna be in your top 5. I know it's not.
It's not. No.
We're not gonna pretend.
It's not.
give me your top 5 Jay-Z albums in order.
In order.
Yeah.
Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, 444. Those are my top. That's like the Holy Trinity. That's the Trinity in the Jay-Z discography to me.
Okay.
Anyway. Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, 444. I'll probably throw in Magna Carta and the Black Album. I would probably round that off with those 5.
Respectable list, but I'm going to say this.
Okay.
Production, pen, like overall, like hit power, Volume 1, in my opinion, is better than 444 and Magna Carta Holy Grail. That's just my opinion. But
okay,
I'll say this. I don't understand how people listen to Reasonable Doubt and covet it and then hear Volume 1 and slight it so much, when I feel like he had to been making those 2 albums had to have been made around the same time, because that version of Hove is on both albums.
Right.
That version of Hove is on both albums. And I think the difference is Reasonable Doubt was in its I guess I want to say it's an underground Hove. Before Hove was a hit maker, so he had just great music without singles. Like he didn't have a single-lated album, and I think the departure, I guess, in a sense, was that Volume 1 had singles on it. But my thing is this, and I think part of the reason why Volume 1 is one of my favorites is because as much as I love hip hop, R&B is my wife. R&B is my best friend. Like hip hop is my next door neighbor in a way compared to R&B. He got a record with
I know exactly where you're going with this. He got a record
with Blackstreet. He got a record with Babyface. He got a record with Kelly Price.
Yeah.
All of yo, I sound like this. The only song that I've ever even skipped on, and I'm not even saying it's a bad song. The only record I even skip.
This is an interesting conversation. Go ahead.
The only record that I would skip if I were a person pulling like, let me pull out the songs, whatever, making a play with it. The only one that may make the list is Lucky Me. And here's the thing. I said that to a friend. He was like, "What?" Another friend told him. He told me I was crazy.
You would take it that you skip?
Yeah.
Oh, that you skip. Okay.
And I was only saying that because I'm like, okay, I'm trying to figure out how people are slighting this album. Well, I'm like, yo, this is a no skip Hove album. It's a no skip Hove album.
So let's
see. And then you gotta put in perspective. Some albums fit a certain time. That album, when you like one person, my friend Umar, who I actually gonna have on the show one day, Matt, because I had great conversations with him. He said he would take out the joint with Puffy and Lil' Kim. Like he basically listed the singles, like the R&B singles. I know what girls like. I know what they want. I love that's my joint. That beat.
You love it. You know what the funny thing is? You love it. How do I say this? You love it for the reasons why I hate it.
And I think that's the same thing that I was dealing with him. But I love that, like that beat. That beat is it's a classic hip hop boom bap beat without being dated. At that time, that beat was hip. It was like essence hip hop, and it still wasn't dated. And then Kim gave you a good verse on there.
That was my.
Kim gave you a good verse on
it's the whole. You know what it is? It's the whole the sophomore album. Theory. You know, you look at.
Thank you.
You look at Nas. You know, you look at Nas's Illmatic, and then you look at It Was Written, right? It was written, which is. God, I hate when I say. To me, I like It Was Written a little bit more. Sonically, It Was Written to me was a little bit better than Illmatic. I'm gonna get crucified, but what the fuck ever. To me, It Was Written was a little bit more, but a lot of people deemed it more commercial. But that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to. You're supposed to go out there. You're supposed to get those radio spins. You're supposed to get those DJ spins and the club spins. You're supposed to do those things. So I understand the Who You Wits, the I Know What Girls Like, Sunshine. I got all those records.
What rappers got Babyface on
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I love the fact that he went out there and went outside the box.
Yo, City is Mine. I love that bit because Usual Suspects. That was my movie.
If that was, oh my God, yeah. No, it's just the fact that if those were like, okay, I look at great example. You look at the two joints that were on the Blue Streak soundtrack. I guess what I'm saying, if those were singles like to a soundtrack, like a movie soundtrack or something, I would have liked them a little bit more, I guess, if that makes sense.
Okay.
if they were movie soundtrack singles, like you know how he did "Can I Get Up" for Rush Hour, or like how he did "Girls Best Friends" with for the Blue Street soundtrack.
Or "Hey Poppy" for the Nutty Professor joint.
For the Nutty Professor, ain't no right. Exactly. Perfect example. Those were movie soundtrack hits. Those were bangers for those specific reasons. For me, it was just like, and even I wasn't even a fan of. Honestly, I wasn't that big of a fan of Volume 2, to be honest.
And thank you. Oh my! See, I wasn't ready to go there yet, but you went.
And that's his biggest selling. And that's his biggest selling album.
Because it was listen, that album was too. It was too much, bro. That album was so the blasphemy that people talk about when they talk about whole albums. Listen, I'm sorry, but Volume 2 is Volume 2 is heavy. The joint with Foxy, Foxy's line in that joint crushes. Listen, I haven't heard a lot of female rappers say what Foxy said on that joint. More Austin, Green Bay, Brett Paul for you.
Yeah.
What? Listen, the joint with him and Bleak. You know what I'm saying?
Coming of Age 2.
Coming of Age 2. Yeah. Come on, the joint with
the
joint with the Too Short joint, fire. Come on. Oh my God, the first Nas diss is on that album.
Man, and nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that.
That was early on one of my favorite whole songs before I even knew him and Nas was beefing. I love that song. Right. And then he had the what? Nigga, who? Then he got my man X on that. You know what I'm saying? Money, Cash, Hoes. Then he got the fucking Can I Get a What? He got Reservoir Dogs, one of my favorite collab records of all time. He threw Money in the Thing on that, even though that was JD's record too.
That was JD's cut, but that was. I mean, come on, it don't pop if Hov ain't on it, dog.
Yeah, exactly. So that album wasn't going. Like, listen, that record wasn't going to make JD's album sell more than a Hov album. But listen,
so here's my argument. Here's my argument with Volume 2.
The volumes are disrespected.
Do you like Volume 3 as much as you like Volume 2?
I love the volumes. I just said it. The volumes are so disrespected. I love volumes. Like this. Okay, so I asked you your top 5. Here goes my top 5 Jay-Z albums.
Okay, hit him. Hit me with it.
Blueprint. Volume 3. Volume 2.
Wow.
Volume 2.
Okay.
The Black Album.
Okay.
Volume. Read it out. But listen, I didn't say that Volume 1 was in my top 5. I said it gets disrespected. And I'm right. It gets right. So we established I have a love-hate. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Right. I think a lot of people who are Hov fans, they don't truly hate it, but because it's such an easy target that in these conversations I hear people have, they allow it to get disrespected without defense. No, and that's crazy to me. Yeah. I have such a because, like I said, my favorite Jay-Z song is on Volume 1, so I can't. I'm not going to totally dismiss it. You reacted a certain type of way when I told you Volume 3 was my second favorite Hov album. No, because you know why? Because the original cut of Volume 3 was better than Volume 2 to me. The original cut. My connection with Volume 2 is that was my true introduction to Jay-Z. And it was such a monstrous year. That 98 was such a year in fucking hip hop. You can't discredit it. So when I first started listening to Hov, it was through his connection with Ja Rule and Dan Mac. I'm just being honest with you. Like, I had known Hov before, and I love the City Is Mine video, but I love Babyface, so I love those songs. But I didn't hear the whole package of that album at the time. I was like, I don't know how old I was when that album first came out. I don't know off the top of my head how old we were, but I wasn't really buying. I didn't have the money to be owning like whole tapes and shit like that, so I only heard songs. Right. By the time I got to hear Hov on the album, it was on Volume 2, and that's what DMX. Though You couldn't say like, yo, I might fight you over DMX disrespect. Biggie was my guy. Biggie got killed, and we can have a conversation. You might have got like, yo, I was where I was at that time in my life. I was fighting depression that I didn't know I was fighting. I was fighting so many things that I didn't know I was dealing with at the time. And DMX his first album got me through. So DMX had I have a deep connection to that album.
I hear you.
It's crazy. So everything DMX I was like wrapped into. So to have him on a whole album, Money Cash Hold, and then like DMX and my dogs bang, jigger, my nigga, rhyme all night. Yo, what? Like, you're not supposed to come on a Jay-Z record and change the energy like that.
But that was X. That was an X period, man. Like,
but
stay out the door. If I catch you when the sun is down, run it, clown, come up off it. I'm gonna gun it down. Like,
so
no, you know,
the only people that did it.
You know what X feature?
Huh?
I'm saying, you know, when X comes on a song, you know X's first lines on that song.
So in that same realm, I've always defended my guy. Rule is it's in my top 5. I've never told anybody else. I've never told anybody else that they need to have Ja Rule in their top 5. And I rode with him even through the 50 Cent shit, and I defended him like, yo, y'all goofy as fuck for riding with 50 when all 50 did was move Ja Rule out the way to do what Ja Rule did. Like, but niggas is so goofy.
Yeah, what was any different? Yeah, what was any different?
Niggas is so goofy. I'm like, yo, 21 Questions? Like, listen to his hooks. He got some rap singy hooks. Some singy rap hooks.
Yeah.
Girl.
Like, he was dissing. I mean, the funny thing about that whole thing was he was dissing Ja Rule, but essentially doing the same exact thing that Ja Rule was doing. Like,
but I will say this: 50 was smart because with 50, the reason why it was easy for 50 to do that is because all he really did was piggyback off of like niggas was like Ja Rule at the time. He was getting really big headed. He was very arrogant, and so niggas was feeling some type of way. So and he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right.
He was like, "Yo, I got like, oh y'all just hearing it, nigga. I got more." Ja Rule was.
I mean, listen. For sake of argument, he was running shit for a minute.
He was him and Irv were like they were gold.
Them niggas was in the top. Yo, them niggas was in the. Yo, they had like what 10 cuts in the top 40. Like
they weren't stopping. So it's like, yo, like the fact is, it's like motherfuckers like you to a certain degree, and then they want to move on to the next thing. It's a weird relationship that niggas had with rap and rappers, and Ja Rule was obviously the biggest victim of it. But here's my background for Ja, right?
Like the first time I saw Ja was in Can I Get Her, right?
And he bodied it.
But to me, he looked like a poor man's DMX. And so that was my first my first impression of Ja when I saw Ja. And it's funny because I was watching Drink Champs and there was a segment where Nori talked about Ja, was saying Ja had asked Nori, do I sound like X?
Yeah, I saw it. He's like, nah.
And he was like, no. Nah. But that was the perception that some of us saw him. That was the light that some of us saw him in, right?
And I'm gonna tell you why. As a big DMX fan, I'm gonna tell you why. It's because somebody put that bug in DMX's ear, and it wasn't about anything about it. Like what you gotta understand is, it's like, yo, people have people in your ear with agendas that you don't realize. And I'm telling you right now, the agenda was like, yo, he's like people thinking that, yo, you already got Hov, you can't move him. You can't move somebody in the South, so you got to try to move somebody else. And they made Ja a target for DMX without him realizing niggas had ulterior motives. So they painted that narrative, and he bought into it because like on the surface, like that, you got another nigga from New York who's sort of grimy, who's sort of like he has a lot of sort of like
because even his look, it looked like he belonged on Rough Riders. Like it just looked like with the bandana and the shirtless look, and ain't even a question like the rah-rah that he had.
But here's the thing, like DMX, the way you talk, that's how you sound. You know Rule. You talk to him. He rap like he sounds.
Made it a little bit more right, which made it to us. Like I said, to me,
it'd be like for instance, you ever Gorilla Black and Shine. When you hear them talk, they sound nothing like Biggie. But when they got on the record, they sound like Biggie.
Perfect example, especially Gorilla Black. More Gorilla Black than Shine did. I think
and that's why he's gone. But I'm saying, so what happens is you have those type of things pushing you. And it's like everybody's like, if you got to choose between DMX and Ja, you're going to choose X because he seems more authentic hood. And that's the. But anyway, I say that I bring up Ja Rule, not to defend him or whatever the case may be. I bring him up to say why I love Volume 2. It's like, Hov, Can I Get Her? That song is fucking amazing. Can I get it in the morning without giving you half of my dough? And even worse, if I was broke, would you want me? Like Hov's ability to make a hit, like a verse, be a smash. Like he had an ability. Like I respect the fuck out of Nas, and I will no longer slander Nas unless you take what I say as slander. He doesn't have the same ability. He's not even the same realm of Jay-Z as far as being able to write a verse that's like hit single worthy. Like if you think about a lot of Nas's, like his hits, it's solely the hook and Nas spitting good verse. Like his verse is never going to slum. But think about it. Like when I think about my favorite Nas record,
nothing was bigger to me than if I Rule the World. I mean, I think that was his.
Now think about it. When I say if real quick, I'm just giving you a couple examples. If I say this, hold on. Can I hit it in the morning without giving you half of my dough? And even birds, if I was, would you want me if I couldn't? Like you like, oh, that's what I'm saying. That's you know that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But sure. if I was to try to say, oh, have you heard Nas, If I Rule the World? I wouldn't be able to spit Nas's verse and people I had to like, if I rule the world.
It's the hook you're saying.
The hook. Like Nas, his hit making ability relied too much on beat and the hook. His verse is gonna be nasty, like lyrically, regardless. Like he's saying some shit in that song. I'm not saying he isn't.
You can have all the chips, be poor or rich, no nobody want a nigga having shit. If I rule the world and everything's in it, sky's the limit. I push 5 infinite. Like, I mean,
he's talking some shit.
He's talking shit on that, man. He's talking shit on that.
But the thing about it is, I can go and quote that shit to some people who aren't.
They won't know what it is. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Hov has the ability to write. The way he writes, it's commercially suitable. So I'm gonna wrap the whole Ja Rule part up. Peace out. That verse that Hov gave, it's one of my favorites. I love that verse. Like one of my favorites on the scene. You know what I'm saying? He was like it's the epitome of who Hov is. And then Emil had a good verse, but it ain't even a question. Bitches better have money for show before they go running their mouth, promote how I be digging it. Back out, go in, let it out. Yo, Rule had it. And I'm like, bro, you got that?
There's no question.
You got
There's
that?
No question. He did not need it. Listen, he did not, for sake of argument, he did not need to entertain that 50 Cent battle. Because that's what ultimately, that was his demise.
So it goes back to what I said.
He didn't have to entertain that. He didn't
be canceled. but it relies on you to be a willing participant in the
All
casting.
he had to say, all Rule had to say is, nigga, you doing the same shit I'm doing.
Nah.
That's all he had to say, though.
He didn't have to be honest with you, he didn't have to say anything. What he needed to do?
He didn't have to say it. No. Right. He didn't have to say anything. You're absolutely right. 1,000%. But he didn't have to go. What was that album? The one that was supposed to be a mixtape, but it became Blood in My Eyes.
Okay.
That Blood in My Eyes album he did not have to make that album. He didn't have to make that album.
He should have just continued making hits.
Just stay right. Instead of making those fucking hits, man. That's all you had to do, T. That's all you had to do.
Like Pusha wounded Drake at the moment. But everybody knew, even people who don't like Drake knew, like, yeah, you won this battle, but if it's a war, you're not winning a war against Drake because Drake.
But Drake's killer line in that whole thing is, you're getting bodied by a singing nigga.
You talking about
that
him and
was
Meek?
The best line in that whole beef.
That was the Meek beef, though. He ain't said to Push.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, he did it to Meek. I'm sorry.
He said to Meek, and he was right.
You getting bodied by a singing nigga. Like, that was the greatest line in that whole beef.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you why that line worked. Because the line works when you focus on Drake being a singing nigga. But that's not the weak part of Drake's repertoire. You know what I'm saying? That it's a rapper singing niggas. It's the fact that he ain't hood. And Meek couldn't put that on display enough. And it didn't matter because a lot of Drake's fans aren't hood. So it don't matter.
It didn't matter. It was irrelevant. The fact that he dissed himself while dissing him, genius.
It was the B-Rab. He hit him with a B-Rabbit. Classic. He hit him with the B-Rabbit. You know what I'm saying? He went on stage.
Right. It was perfect. It was perfectly executed.
So I said Volume 3 was my favorite one. And one of the reasons why is because number one, one thing we did talk when we talk about Hov, one thing we knew Hov was going to do was give you a mean ass intro. Now, arguably his best intro song is on the Dynasty album. But I tell people, like, yo, people talk about that. Like Meek Mill has
theme song to The Sopranos plays in the key of life on my mental piano. I got a strange way of seeing shit like I'm Stevie Wonder with beads under the do-rag. Oh, come on, man. Stop it. Stop it.
That is a, but I feel like his intro verse on Volume 3 was crazy. Then it give you the joint, get your hands 5. What? Where he sort of poked the bad DC Go-Go because he had a problem with DC Go-Go because they. Like,
so I remember, so B told me. So listen. So this is my introduction. This is my introduction to go-go music, because when that shit came out, right? I'm with B in Philly.
It's just a line.
B didn't like that song.
Yeah, it's just a line to you. Like, if you don't know DC Go-Go, it's just a line.
So he goes and plays me the original track. And I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah. I'm like, oh, shit. Then that was my introduction to go-go. Sidebar. Respect to go-go music. Respect to DC. Respect to my man that they're doing the butt. My man Brown. EU. Right. Respect to all that.
I'll tell you like this. I feel like the people of our area, I understand, like, to a degree why they when they feel us. Like, you got to understand, and like people outside of the area, all they see is you recreating their music, you know what I'm saying, in the percussion.
Sure.
What they don't understand is the essence of what a go-go band is. It's still a cover band. And you go to a fancy restaurant and there's a cover band. Like this, like I went to a restaurant one time and there's a white woman singing an Anita Baker song.
Right. Right.
They were playing the piano and she was singing Anita Baker. She didn't butcher the song. She didn't kill it. But I'm like, okay, it's just a lady singing Anita Baker. You know what I'm saying? Right. Same thing. So
Right.
so when Jay, I think when Hove and those
So
rappers,
that's how you took that.
when rappers who don't understand it, especially if you have pre-existing issues from the drug game from back in the 80s and early 90s, you already feeling some type of way about them, so you already don't have a full scope of what you're actually witnessing when you hear a go-go band play these. Number one, you should be honored when a go-go band, you know what I'm saying, plays your song. That's just number, especially if it's a Red Essence, a Junkyard, a BY, or NEG. If one of those playing your shit, you like, yo, we resonate, because you gonna resonate with our culture.
Okay.
The DC culture you gonna resonate with is when they play that shit, because it's like, yo,
right.
There's been artists who've had shit and it's like, yo, I don't know who the fuck that is, but I fuck with this.
And for sake of argument, that introduction to that from B introduced me to go-go music, and that's the reason why I fucking love the Jill Scott song off of her first album.
A lot of people.
Oh my God, that's my favorite song from Jill Scott.
It's also regional, so we get a lot of love regionally, but not nationally, because it hasn't traveled enough. It hasn't traveled strong enough.
No, it hasn't.
My only issue with Hove was, it's like, okay, you use this, and you probably use like, hey, y'all can do it to us, we can do it to y'all too. But he could have used the platform of it to give them big them up or put them out there or help them.
I will agree with that. I have a problem with not paying homage to,
because to be honest with you,
originators. I agree 100%. Hove was wrong in that situation. I agree.
Because rap always had borrowers and lenders.
Sure.
But, I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like they could have legally probably put an issue on that song if they really wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Right.
But anyways, that song, fire. Number one, that's Beans was on that joint. At the time, you couldn't tell me nothing about Beans. Beans was my guy. You know what I'm saying?
Volume 3 is so disgusting. Volume 3 is so, like I said, the original cut of Volume 3, because the original cut of Volume 3 had anything on it.
Yeah.
It had the two hidden tracks. The two hidden tracks that were on Volume 3 was on the original track list. If you go to Tidal, the original track list for Volume 3 is on there. I fucking love.
Okay.
Volume.
My favorite Jay-Z song of all time is on Volume 3.
Oh, okay. Which I remove your roof, nigga, sunshine in.
Remove your roof, nigga, let the sun shine in. That is my favorite Hove record, and and then Timbo with the B switch.
And then Timbo switches the. Come on,
Timbo with the B switch. Timbo switched the beat on that, and then he was on Memphis Bleek's second album, the Understanding, on a record with Hove.
Oh, is that your bitch?
No. Before that, earlier in the album, there's a song where Bleek is rapping, and then at the end he switched the beat.
He switched the beat. You're right.
And Hove came on it. And Hove came on it, but he ain't rap. He just talked on it.
But is that that track, is that your bitch? The one that he did with Missy and Twista and Bleek, that was on Volume 3.
That was originally on Volume 3.
Originally on Volume 3.
But they poured it off to give it to Bleek.
He gave it to Bleek. Anything was a bonus track on Siegel's first album.
Yeah.
The two soundtracks, the Jig, what's my motherfucking name? Jig, he put that on the Rough Riders compilation. Girl's Best Friend ends up going to the Blue Streak soundtrack. So it was everywhere.
I felt some type of way that song got, I'm saying, as much push as it did compared to other records on that album. But
which one?
On the Volume 1, the Rough Riders Volume 1. Only because, like, listen, it was a big record and it was a Swiss produced record, and you wanted to get that joint out there. It was a banger, but I feel like
it got more push than it should have.
Yeah, it got pushed. It got more push than it should have compared to other records on the album with actual Rough Riders on it.
Oh, okay.
Because at the time, Swiss Beats wasn't a household name for people to be like, oh, it's like if that was a Black Round record and Black Round compilation album, you know all the beats is from Timbo. Timbo's big enough. Right. It's like, oh, this is Jay on a Timbo record.
Because it's Jay. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But the fact is, you didn't realize, like now we know. Oh, I mean, obviously I knew, and people who are like big on Rough Riders. But when you hear that record, you don't think, oh, this is a Timbo and Swish joint.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, it's like this was just a whole record. It just happened to be produced by Swiss Beats. Swiss not on the record. They didn't have any artists saying what's my nigga. Like they could have had. I'm just glad they didn't have.
You said you wasn't a fan of the hook. Was that what you're saying?
No. I love the song. But I'm saying, like, for it to not have enough Rough Rider DNA to get pushed. Number one, I feel like they opened, the first single was honestly the Rough Riders. What? The Rough Riders. Yeah. The posse cut. And it should have been. And then switched. I mean, then the Jay-Z song was the second single.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I don't think it should have been the second single. I feel like they could have. Eve's record should have been the second single.
Saying it could have been more of a B-side.
Yes. Because Eve's single, what y'all niggas want? Because the album had 4 singles.
You're saying it didn't represent Rough Riders enough for it to be the second single.
They should have waited. Like if it's supposed to be because it's produced by Swiss Beats on a Rough Riders album, what they should have done is use the other singles to more promote Swiss Beats Rough Riders, Swiss Beats Rough Riders. You got the Rough Riders single, the Rough Riders, the Rough Riders. Then they had
But they went with the name. They went with the name.
Of course.
I get what you're saying.
Because it was Interscope. Mm-hmm. Because Interscope, Interscope was still trying to build.
Right.
So you like, hey, I can't let Def Jam put all the Jay-Z shit out, make money. I can make money off Jay-Z's voice.
I can make money off of Jay-Z's voice, yeah.
That's basically what Interscope was doing. Like, yo.
He even said, and for the right price, I can even make your shit hotter. So, I mean.
The singles off that album were Rough Riders, the Jay-Z, Jiggle my nigga.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was Eve's, what y'all niggas want, and it was Down Bottom. Rough Riders. Like, that's the first thing you hear.
Yeah, God, they had so many hits on that damn compilation.
You hear, Drag On, Swiss Beats.
So many.
Right? But the thing about it is, to me, the most important record on that album was DMX's song. That was never a single.
Oh, you're right.
Volume 1, Swiss Beats. All aboard. If I would have been put out the album. Word to my mama. I'ma hit your niggas with something that you ain't never felt. Hit your niggas with something, get caught up in that hell. Like, that should have been a single. And I feel like, I think that they didn't know how to market that record.
I can't argue with that, man. I can't argue with that.
Because my thing is, like, yo,
they had hits on that album, man.
X is already smoking. So he, like, his energy. So just use the record, and then right behind it, let it ride. And if it ain't slapping the way you want it, then drop the jiggers on it. That's what I would do.
Even the what was that? Was that the Locks? It was the Locks and Party.
Oh, that Pina Colada. That wasn't Locks. That was
oh my God! Like, it's just
they didn't make that a single.
And that wasn't a single. Yeah,
that was a fire ass record. And the funny thing is,
the Streets made that a single.
If I'm DNY and I see the way people reading it, they have Styles and Jada like same tier, and they view Sheek Louch like at least a tier or two less than them, right?
Right.
I would have put that bitch out. Right. Even if it ain't like it would have been a 5th single, or it would have been a B-side of one of the other singles. You gonna hear Sheek Louch outside of the Locks.
It would have represented It would have represented Rough Riders just a little bit more stronger if those singles had have came.
But if they had Colada, oh my goodness. Volume 1, I love that album.
It was a great project. The
only song I didn't like on that album was that parlay song. I'm like, who is these guys?
Oh, the parlay song.
I'm a rider, bang, bang. That song was terrible. I'm sorry. Parlay, if you listening to this, which you probably not, but if you listening to this, I'm not saying you ain't got other music that was good. I didn't hear it, but I heard that one, and that shit was terrible.
That wasn't it. It wasn't it. It just wasn't it. That wasn't it, man.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Listen, we pulling up to the spot.
All right, now.
We are at the end of the ride tonight, man. I want to thank you for hanging out with me, man. I appreciate it. I love having good conversation about shooting and shit. Like, we on the ride up, but we be shooting the shit. So if the name of the show wasn't on the ride up, it'd be called Shooting the Shit.
The shit.
That's what we do. Ron, it's been a pleasure, man. Look forward to having conversations with you and hopefully Brian in the future. Hopefully, Brian.
Let's do it again, man.